welcome in, Alabama Nation. It's your boy Coach Smook and your boy Coach Jay with this week's edition of Monday Night Quarterback with the Coaches.
Got him.
We appreciate y'all for joining in. Let me make sure we're live right now. Are we live right now? If we're live, can we get some fire emojis in the chat?
Testing.
I got you, Coach Jay. Looks like we're having some connection issues tonight. How's everybody doing tonight, though, in the chat, man? As we get ready to make sure everybody's straight. Let me get my glasses on. Let me see.
Yeah, I'm tired. I had to put them on, man. The squinting was ridiculous. I couldn't. I can't with the squinting.
I had to get mine clean, man. It's this weather up here is different, man. What's good, Milroe? How's everybody doing in the chat? Will Martin Jr. Let me know if everything is coming in clearly. Are we having connection issues? I'm not sure. Let me know how everything is coming in, chat, as you all roll in. Don't forget to drop the likes, drop the thumbs up. Make sure you're sharing this stream to another platform, letting everybody know that Alabama football, the best analyst and insight and perspective podcast you're going to tune into is on right now. Coach Jay, how you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling nice. I'm feeling really good, man. I think that really confident in this team. I'm just really happy that we're starting to play. We're starting to really get back into Alabama football, and sucks that live cable will not have this game. You have to go to, I think ESPN Plus or SEC Network Plus. You have to watch the game. But overall wise, I'm just ready and ready to go.
Right there with you, brother. I'm at a point right now, man. I'm not looking at I'm not even looking at rankings right now, man. I'm just enjoying this team just consistently getting better. To be playing winning football at a high rate right now. I want to say for probably I give them the last 10 quarters of football have been solid football, man. Now, a lot of people like to break down game by game, but if you just continue to dive into it a lot deeper than, looking at it from a surface level, you'll see how good this team is really getting. It's like a drive. Every drive, there's progression, especially on the offensive side. Defensively, they've been kind of solid, and we're finally seeing them get tested in different areas and respond when they have adversity. But this team is really trending in the right way. Shout out to Fred Turner popping the night off early with the super chat. Fred Turner with the $2 super chat said, "Roll Tide from Louisville, Kentucky." Fred, appreciate you for being on the show tonight and super chatting that $2 super chat. Don't forget, guys, we have a weekly super chat goal on every show, trying to reach that $40 super chat. So as long as you all continue to enjoy the show and continue feeling the need to support monetarily, just know the super chat is there, man, and we definitely appreciate it. My guy Brent Shepard from Roll Tide, from Montgomery. Roll Tide to you. And as always, one of the faves in the building, man. One of the longtime supporters, Donna B. Curious. Yep. Yes, Roll Tide.
Duke to go. Talking about the Bills. Talk about the Bama's here, but of course the Bills game is on. Listen, I got my Bills gear on, Duke. I got it on, so I'm ready to go for that too, man. So yeah, but shout Donna, shout the Burning Element, Brent Shepard, Matt Bray, a lot of the Bama regulars, man. Shout out to you guys.
All right, man. Look, man, I'm telling you right now, man. My Falcons always disappoint me weekly when it comes to the NFL. So I'm super invested in this Crimson Tide when it comes to fandom, man. So y'all can have that NFL talk tonight. We on the Alabama Crimson Tide, man, and I'm excited because, kind of down because we missing our bro, Coach Shawn. He's out supporting his daughter. Was able to send us a clip, man. It looks like their game is pretty packed and pretty hyped. So I know he's out there enjoying supporting his daughter. So best of wishes and well wishes to Coach Shawn and his daughter, Mia. Shout out to Duke to go. He said, "Roll Tide, let's go Buffalo," with the $2 super chat. Duke to go 2020, man. Roll Tide. But let's jump into it, Coach Jay. We usually, start the show kind of how we ended, just reiterated how, our feels behind the previous week. One of the big things I think we were stuck on was just the Tommy Rees play calling. So Just give your final reaction to the Kentucky game and just the overall outlook, what you see going forward, man, as far as what this team is doing and how they're trending.
No, I thought Tyrese called a spectacular game. It was really a beautiful sight to see. You saw a combination of the right fit for Milroe as far as play calling, and then of course those receiving concepts that both me and you and Coach Shawn we've been saying from day one, man, that these receiving concepts are so much better compared to Bill O'Brien. How for the most part every single one of our receivers, it seems like they have a specific role that they fit in. Kendrick Law, as far as once again with the jet sweeps, pre-snap motion going. You can just use him, line him up in the backfield, and you saw, man, as that gadget player, that Deebo Samuel like player. He's an electrifying guy. Kobe Prentice, how he's being utilized. Zaya Bond is how he's getting utilized. Again, like I said, that fake toss to CJ Dupree up the seam was my favorite play call of the day. But I mean, you're starting to see Jalen Milroe become a lot more comfortable, way more comfortable now. And then again,
Right.
the one pick he threw was just because he was feeling himself, right? That's kind of one of those. I'm making so many plays because I'm extending plays down the field, and I'm just making these crazy plays that I feel like I can be Superman. Now that could be a somewhat bad tendency if you keep doing it, but that's something that can easily be cleaned up and fixable. And I'm pretty sure that Tom Reason is going to tell him that in the film room not to make those throws. But you can tell, man, he's starting to feel himself a lot more. He's starting to gain a lot more confidence in this in Tommy Reese and his offensive scheme. I think the players that we've been saying from day one, that these receivers and these skill position guys, that they were going to be patient, and as long as they do their assignment wise, sooner or later they were going to get it fixed. Sooner or later, they were going to get the reward. We talked about Amari Nyblack last time. We said Amari Nyblack at some point is going to get going. What happened? He had a touchdown. I'm telling you, man, it's going to be a matter of time before he's going to before he really is truly going to get unleashed. We keep getting those little sample sizes, man, like how you go to the food market and you keep tasting those samples. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. So it's just I'm really loving this offense. Offensive line wise oh my god, I love this offensive line. I think they've improved so much. Jaden Roberts, Caden Proctor is getting better and better and better almost every single week. Like I said, the last 3 games, I think the Tennessee game against James Pierce was a turnaround game from him. But it's just I love overall that the offense is not just one dimensional. It's now starting to really find a stride. It has multiple strengths now in so many different layers. You can run the football now. You have a solid offensive line that's really good in pass pro. You have a receiving attack that can kill you in short intermediate routes to you can kill them in the long range game. It's starting to become a more complete offense. And I don't think we're quite there yet, but I'm telling you, man, this is kind of similar to 2021, how you knew in certain occasions, I mean, offensively we were fine, but defensively was, starting to kind of hit their stride. But then what kind of turned it around was I want to say it was either the Mississippi State game or the Auburn game, where it was just a complete turnaround and they just became the old Bama defense from a flashback. I think the exact same thing is starting to happen with this offense. They're starting to really they're starting to find their groove. It's going to be a matter of time before all of a sudden they go against a certain team and everything just starts to click on all cylinders. So I'm really, really proud of this offense and how they looked over the last 2 to 3 weeks.
Not only am I just satisfied with the offense, and the only point I'm going to disagree with you with is the fact that they haven't found it. This team consistently, play calling wise, has looked so good the last 10 quarters. That's why I initially highlighted the that made that comment initially. You look at the last 10 quarters of offensive play calling and you see a trend. You see what they want to do to create space for the offensive run game, the run attack. They want what they want to do when they build as far as the passing game, how they want to go with his strengths early and then build off of that by sending those progressions, across the middle of the field, where he's starting to be able to ease into that mode and understanding of what the defense is trying to get him to do. But learning also just his growth in moving defenders with his eyes. The first passing touchdown to a knee black, the only reason that worked was because of the way he looked, stare down. Yeah, he just stared down that wheel route that made the safety and the guy whose actual assignment, the boundary corner assignment was to pick that up. I mean, that offense, you saw those same things being applied last game against LSU. And then, even going back to the Tennessee game, you saw that in the second half, which is why that defense looks so so effective, so productive. But I want to take a look at offensive side, and shout out to Refried Confusion for the 4.99 super chat. We definitely appreciate you. Roll Tide, thank you for showing up. We appreciate you. But on the defensive side, man, I think we're starting to see this defense is kind of that elite level, and you kept alluding to it during the post game show. This defense really only gave up 7 points. If
Yep.
you I went back to that game and you look at both starting positions, just unfortunate starting positions. I think honestly, the Kool-Aid muff punt, and yeah, I was joking about it, but that Kool-Aid muff punt really showed the type of, even though it ended with points for them, it showed the type of grit this defense had because they didn't make it easy. I remember last year plays like that what happened, and offensive coordinators just felt like they could dial up the play action pass and just gut Pete Golden and whatever defense we had on the field. But I think Kevin Steele is returning that dominant aura, that dominant feel back to this defense where people are really considering what their play calling is like when they get in certain situations. Even to the point now you see where players who aren't hustling and finishing plays are being exposed on film, and we'll jump into that later on, a little bit later into this. But when we have 11 guys on the defense hustling, this defense is just elite. Not even making the right plays, but literally just hustling, finishing plays, playing to the whistle. This defense is dangerous. I mean, dangerous. I mean, to the point where a four-man contain or four-man rush, like pass rush, is possible with the amount of talent we have and the way Kevin Steele is scheming this defense up. Um, but yeah, man, we definitely going to see some growth in small areas like the inside linebacker area where we saw this defense struggle this past week. Mainly Trez Marshall, but other than that, you giving him more reps this week against Chattanooga. You're also going to see possibly more reps for might get to see some final live reps for Justin Jefferson and more reps for Kendrick Blackshire, and just Jahad Campbell continue to learn that Mike spot, calling those signals, because that's when we saw the defense make a change. So that's just my initial take on it. Don't want to drag it on. Definitely want to get into the schematics of things though, like you said, because I think this weekend I'm not going to be one of those people that hype up what we're going up against. I think I want to highlight more so what we look to work on this week, and how this week's game and preparation and how we finish the game looks going forward for the college football playoff. So Chattanooga's up next, man. And we don't want to sit here and play like this is a cupcake game. It's not a cupcake game because not no disrespect to Chattanooga, the way this team is operating right now, unless the world just comes crumbling down, this should be a business trip. Wake up, let's handle the business and just watch the rest of college football fall apart. How you feel initially going into this game, Coach Jay?
Oh, we should destroy them. This is, I think this is going to be a similar game to hopefully Middle Tennessee. Again, even though we dominated the Middle Tennessee game, we actually made a lot more mistakes in that football game that actually translated to the Texas game. Those same mistakes we saw week 1 were the exact same mistakes we saw week 2 cost us. So yes, even though I have all the confidence in the world that we're going to not only win this game, but destroy them, that just because we do it doesn't mean that, we can't take a look at some of the mistakes we make on film and try to correct those mistakes. Because, the week after, we got to go right back into voodoo land, right back into that voodoo land where they got all the voodoo dolls in the refrigerators all frozen up, ready to go into Jordan Hare. So we gotta. So this is gonna be a game where you're gonna take a look at this game. Play freely. Try to stick to the game plan for the most part. Continue to how you play, and whatever mistakes you make, you can take a look at the film and try to correct those mistakes sooner or later. If this is a game where if Trez Marshall does, perfect example, if Trez Marshall starts in this game, and if Deontay Lawson's out for another one, then if Trez Marshall, this is a perfect opportunity for you to definitely make up for a lot of mistakes you made against the Kentucky, because there was a lot of mistakes that he made in that game that could easily be cleaned up, and try to correct those mistakes against Chattanooga. So hopefully, like I said, we see a lot more players, a lot more backup players, or even players before that. You just mentioned Justin Jefferson. I would like to see more Ty Simpson. I want to see more Alexander. I think Alexander at the inside linebacking role. I got excited when he made that tackle for loss against Kentucky late in the game. I want to see more stuff from him, because that could be some really big improvement. That could be something that we can look forward towards next year. So hopefully we can see a lot more of those guys out. But just for the most part, just looking at this game, hoping we can correct mistakes and go in and hopefully take care of business and move on to Voodoo Land.
Yeah, man. And I just seen a comment about Marshall and Story be out there looking like Daniel Wright, aka can't get right. No, you know what? I'm gonna disagree with that. Marshall was horrible. Story played a solid game against Kentucky. He did his assignment to the T.
He got better.
We didn't see not one over the top. I mean, one over the top breakdown at all. We saw a lot of underneath stuff getting mixed up under there. We saw the motion, and we talked about this play when they motion their slot receiver or their number one guy across the formation. You know, why we aren't, bumping those boundary corners out and allowing those guys that's already on that boundary to play that area or play that man. I think those are small things that are going to get worked on this game. I don't think we won't see a change. I don't think we'll see a change with how we're scheming it, but I think we'll see a lot of guys get in and work at handling those motions, handling those pre-snap motions, really sprinting and trying to beat the guy to the perimeter. If that's how we're going to trust the star guy to play it, or the boundary corner who's the lock for that play, because that's what I got taught this past weekend. Sometimes the way the defense is called based off the initial alignment, even if there is, Kool-Aid has one guy on his side, he's established as the lock corner. So at that point, the defense is going to stay based off the lock corner. It's up to the linebackers and it's up to the guy that's going in motion to make the initial call before, they get set. Sometimes you don't get to make that call, and the last call is to lock corner, Kool-Aid's lock corner. So the fact that Terrion Arnold is being trusted with that, I see that paying off later on. Definitely would love a more aggressive safety to be able to play over top and kind of overhang that type of motion, and trust Kool-Aid or Amos. I think you could trust Kool-Aid or Amos to lock their man up initially inside, not giving up the deep, seam or whatever, whatever's riding that seam after that flat, that jet motion with the flat release, that thing is a killer. So I see small things like that being cleaned up, but Chattanooga presents just enough of a test for us to get good looks with our first team. And I think Milroe and this offense, the way they're moving and blazing right now, if we see a 21-point first quarter again, we were able to put 21 points up against Kentucky. Basically, it was 21-7 in the first quarter, right? End of the first quarter, it was 21-0 at the end of the first quarter, and then they scored early in the second.
Mm-hmm.
So, if we could get another start like that, mistake-free, I see Ty Simpson and his offense taking over right before half. Getting in like a good 2.5 quarters of snaps with Ty Simpson, your second string O-line, your second string defensive lineman, your second string linebackers. Your secondary probably won't see second string until middle of the third quarter. So this is one of those things where I'm not overlooking this game. I just see this as a great opportunity for guys to get experience and to continue to create value for the depth in this team on both sides of the ball. Shout out to Jay Townsend with the $20 super chat. He says, "What's up, guys? I'm still frustrated with us not moving up in the standings when we're dominating teams after the Texas loss." We're jumping right into that topic, man. It's crazy that you came in with that super chat, $20 super chat. Big money, Jay. Always coming in showing mad love, brother. We appreciate it, man. And crazy jump on that topic, man. The standings, we haven't been able to see the new college football standings, but these AP standings, man. Coach Jay, what do we have to do, man? What does Alabama have to continue to do to show college football that we're for real, regardless of an early season loss to Texas?
You just got to win and just pray to God. Just hope, just win and just pray, man. That's all you can do at this point. The College Football Playoff Committee has made it clear known that they do not like what we've done for the season. They love Oregon. And the reason why, and it's funny because the reason why Oregon is number 6 is not because of their strength of record. it's because of the eye test. They've looked quote unquote more dominant. I don't know. Let me get the finger in frame. More dominant than us so far, which is nuts. Because why isn't Washington above Florida State when Washington clearly has the better resume and they've looked better more consistently? So it's this playoff committee, they're unpredictable. We don't know what is going to happen. I mean, there's a great chance we went out, beat Georgia, and we still won't get in. I mean, there's a great chance. I think at this point, the best thing you can do is just win games. Don't, if you're Bama, just win games. Don't really focus on the rankings that much, and just hope and pray that one of those teams. I mean, you need Oregon to lose another game. You need Washington to lose. You need somebody to lose. Florida State to lose. I mean, you need help basically, and I don't know if this is going to be a year where we truly do control our own destiny. I think that this is going to be a game where we have to rely on the football gods to hopefully take care of work. But the playoff committee has just made it known that clearly they don't like us as what within the past, and it's a shame. It's a shame, man, because it's a shame that you don't get rewarded for playing tough teams. We could have been like Georgia and not play anybody for the early portion of our non-conference schedule, but we decided to test ourselves on the road, like how everybody else wanted. Like, what Alabama look if they went on the road or if they played it or a home series? We did that. We're going to be doing that for the next 10 years, and the fact that we could potentially get punished for playing tough opponents it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I'm gonna play the other side of the fence, man. I think you win out, you're in. Simple as that. I don't care who wins in front of us. Ohio State, Michigan has to sort itself out. Florida State has to win out. Washington, Oregon, they're going to see each other more than likely again. I mean, even with Washington winning that one, I think the Alabama-Georgia game is our ticket. And the reason I say that is the only reason I think we're being held out of the top 5 is because we don't have a top 5 win. Texas beat us when we were top 5. We got to go back to you got to remember we were number 4 going into that Texas game. I believe it was number 4 versus number 11.
Yeah, but then why is Oregon number 6?
I mean, but we don't have another top 10 win. I think LSU.
They don't either. They
beat us. They beat us. Texas beat us.
That's Texas.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. If we get
number 6,
if we get the top win against Georgia, which I believe we can, that puts us in the top 4 easily. You literally have you can't sit there and weigh out strength of schedule anymore. After that point, you take conference champions and you weigh the results and you look at the teams on the board. Washington won't see a number 2 team. Washington won't see Florida State won't see a number 2 team in their conference game. So if that's what they're going by and that's what they're giving credit for now, I kind of think we could ride that. As far out as it seems, I think that's what we have to ride and live on. And it's not even the style of how we win at this point. They've already clearly shown that. So that kind of makes it easier on us and puts more pressure on the teams in front of us. I mean, let's just dive into the schedules real quick. You got Texas right now. They're on the road at Iowa State. An aggressive defense. I don't think they win, but who knows? This is a defense that can create turnovers in Iowa State. This is a Quinn Ewers coming back from an injury who really looked good last week against TCU, but didn't look great. That TCU defense caused some fits for Texas. So
in the second half, that second half was not a good performance in the second half. They almost lost that game. They were up by 26-5, and all of a sudden the final score was 29-26.
Exactly. And this is what I'm saying. The committee, if they don't factor that in, that would, like Coach Shawn said, that will be a riot, man. That will college football will not sleep if you have Alabama best number 2 at that point, or maybe number 1 Georgia. Because you got to think this Michigan Ohio State game might not keep that one of those teams at number 1. You got to think that game might not keep them at number 1. So I don't know, man. This committee is so inconsistent. I'm not even bought into whatever that process is right now. I know for a fact we win out, and I mean win. We in this season 12-1 regular season. We're in that playoff, man. You don't find a committee that puts out a 1-loss Bama SEC champ. You don't do that. Not in Georgia either. Look, like if Georgia had lost a game early in the season, do I think they'll be penalized as much as we are? No. But I still don't think you keep them out of it being defending national champs if they won, lost, and SEC champs.
I disagree. If they would have lost to Ole Miss last week, I think they would have been in a much worse position than we were. I think they were way worse. I think Georgia.
Oh yeah,
I think
because of
that
the
screws
rankings,
us.
yeah.
Yeah, that screws us. I think that screws whoever wins. It's just for this year. I will say this: for the last year of the College Football Playoff Committee, there's more parity now than there's ever been before. And I think with the playoff committee, what they're truly valuing is their value. I think they're trying to value other Power Five conferences. I think this the whole bias with the SEC and not letting other conferences. I think it's kind of clear as day. They're trying to value other conferences. In the last couple of years, the Pac-12 has played a lot better. Now, I think that conference is overrated, but to them, I think they think that the Pac-12 is the best conference right now in college football. And it's scary because if, again, I agree with you, like Bama's track record is better than pretty much everybody in the SEC if they go ahead and win everything else. It's better than anybody in the country. Georgia would be the best win. You beat Tennessee. I don't know if Tennessee is going to be ranked, but again, Kentucky if they beat Louisville, they're going to be ranked. Ole Miss is going to be ranked. LSU has a Heisman Trophy, could potentially have the Heisman Trophy winner. You beat that team. Bama's track record is better than a lot of teams, than pretty much 99% of college football. But the problem is that we're going to be in a scenario for the first time ever. This has never happened before, where if Texas wins out and we win out, the one thing that is stopping us is the head-to-head matchup, and they beat us on the road. Remember, we got in 2017 because they didn't say Ohio State lost 2 games. They didn't say because they lost to Iowa by a lot of points. They said the deciding factor was Alabama beating Florida State in week 1, which Florida State was terrible that year, but they were the number 3 ranked team in the country. They clearly counted the AP poll in for the deciding factor, and that's not been the only example. They love to use early games for some odd reason. They love to use early games as a deciding factor, as a breakthrough. So I'm concerned that we're going to get punished for playing tough teams. Because if we didn't play Texas at all, we would be the number 1 team in the country. Let's be real. Texas was not on our schedule, and we decided to play a cupcake. We would be the number 1 team in the country right now. It would be number 1 Alabama versus number 2 Georgia for the SEC championship game if both teams got in there undefeated. So I'm telling you, man, they better be careful. They better be very, very careful what they do, because you could have a situation where these teams could just call up on each other and say, "Why are we playing each other? What's the point when you're clearly going to get punished for playing tough competition early part, and that could literally bite you in the tail."
You know what? And that you saying that is my exact reason for believing we possibly see the flip in the 3rd and 4th week of the rankings, because those last 3 weeks of rankings have been the tell all of how this college football scene has been played off the last 3 years, the last 3 weeks. And you go back and you look at how it's flipped. I don't know, man. I'm like I said, I play the other side just to be an analyst, but I don't see how you compare a win over Oregon State or Washington, and you compare it to or you compare it to a win over LSU or win over
Right.
Tennessee or win over Ole Miss or win over I mean, at this point of the season, the way teams are playing, Kentucky could be in the Pac-12 and be in a lot of these games, man.
Mississippi State,
And
Arizona.
I mean, it's just one of those things where you kind of just wonder, where is the brain of this committee? But at this point in time, we can't worry about that. As fans, as players, we just win it out, man. We just win it out. It has to play itself out. Jay Townsend with another $5 super chat says Texas has been squeaking by unranked teams and stayed at number 7. Hey, only gripe, only that's my only gripe about them. But other than that, they have the head-to-head, which is if that's the criteria we're going. If they're going by that criteria, it sucks, but it's real. You can do that, but also don't penalize us for not being able to play against a Florida State or a Michigan or a Washington or Oregon. Week 2, because I believe we beat those teams in week 2. We beat Oregon in week 2 this year with Milroe and all his inconsistencies with that offensive line and their inconsistencies. We have enough defense to stop what Oregon does. I'm willing to bet that as good as they look against Pac-12, you see what their defense does against Pac-12. They're not elite on the defensive side. Yeah, you put up 63 on Cal. But you give up 27 and only put up 36 on USC, who's probably a worse defense than Cal. So I mean, it's one of those things where it's not matching up, but we just got to live with it, Alabama Nation. And this is the position. This is the position you put yourself in when you have established yourself as a dominant team for more than a decade. People haven't seen this. People have never seen what Coach Saban is doing at Alabama right now for the past, since 2008, really. He showed up in 2007, but 2008 was really when it started. And to be almost 20 years into that run, of consistent dominance, yeah, it can cause some fatigue, but at some point in time, you got to get off your opinion boat and you got to live with the facts and put the film out there. And if you put the film out there, there's only maybe one or two teams that can really match up with Alabama playing their best brand of football. Simple as that.
It's just, man. I just don't know what this committee is going to do. I just don't know. When you have seven Big Ten playoff committee, when you have a chair, you have one SEC representative there. It's just you don't know what they're going to do. And it is clear and obvious that they want two big. It's clear and obvious that the bias for the Big Ten is there. It is obvious for what Michigan, Ohio State is. Still saying that Ohio State has the best resume in college football with one ranked win. That's the best resume in college football, people. That, according to them, that is the best resume in college football. It's a joke. It's a joke, man. This is what I'm saying. We can't keep changing these college football playoff committee members every year. Stop changing it, because we don't. It differs every single year. We don't know. I mean, what one year it is because of the eye test. The other year they base it off of strength of record. The other year they base it off of strength of conference. Like they're not consistent of what they do. Like, this is what, give me the computer rankings. I would rather, at least that's more consistent. Give me the computer rankings back, man. I'm tired of these playoff committee people, these people that barely know football, that haven't played the game, barely watch it. I mean, Condoleezza Rice clearly showed that she didn't watch the games, and yet you keep having these people vote. It's ridiculous.
Does the Big Ten have an actual championship game, or is it like a outright type thing?
Oh, they have a championship game. They have divisions, so right now it's looking like whoever's Ohio State, Michigan plays Iowa.
That's what I'm saying. Like I can't remember when Big Ten Conference Championship game was like a determining factor for a playoff spot. But all of a sudden now this year, it's so much value in the Big Ten Conference and their scheduling. Like, they still have the least amount of ranked opponents. If you even go back to opponents' rankings at the time of them playing, both of those schools combined had just as many ranked games as Alabama has on one schedule. That is crazy to me. And somebody can go fact check me, just scanning back at the schedule. I'm looking at Michigan and Ohio State's schedule. You got two ranked opponents right now. Three. Well, if you count each other out, Michigan has two ranked opponents, which is Ohio State has Penn State and Notre Dame. And then I go over to Michigan schedule, and I'm looking at their schedule like none. Penn State is their only one. So you got three total, basically two ranked games on between those schedules. It's not even three, it's two ranked games. You add Notre Dame in and Penn State, those are the only other teams other than each other that are ranked when you talk about their schedule. And you're telling me those are strong resumes? Get the freak out of here. I almost said a cuss word. I almost cussed. And I ain't cussed like that in a minute. But I mean, I just can't deal, man. I can't deal with it right now. I just keep looking at our team and saying, hey, there's no way you deny a team like this. I mean, we got Georgia fans in here once again. I don't know why they keep popping up on Alabama Network things, but welcome in to the chat. We appreciate y'all for showing up. But I have Georgia fans, that's in mutual fan groups, man, and they're seeing the trend that they're trying to figure out why the rankings are still looking the way they're looking, and for them not to be number one is kind of a disrespect. Like you said, it's kind of a disrespect. You look at this as cupcake as Georgia's schedule has been. The last few weeks is rounded out to be a tough type of schedule to end the season based on
teams. They play two top 10 teams, and they're probably not going to move up because the bias for Michigan. Because, like Duke said, Jim Harbaugh, America's team. That's the Big Ten. That's the playoffs team. Is Michigan, Ohio State? Clearly, for some reason, Ohio State has the best resume in college football according to the playoff committee. It's just
B-Jam.
I don't know.
B. Jamin said this UGA is playing like the number one team right now. What are the top three choices that even has the chance at beating UGA? Bama. I don't even have three choices right now. I think the only teams that can really compete match up against Georgia right now, as far as them being the defending national champs, Bama and Michigan. Honestly, I think any team with a solid offense is going to blow Ohio State out. Their defense is not great. They just been fortunate enough to play horrible offensive built teams this year. Their strongest test was probably Maryland. Wouldn't you? I mean, wouldn't you agree, Coach J?
It
Their
is.
hardest test. I mean, I'm looking at Notre Dame as high as they was ranked at that point in time. They were, they only put up 17 points. They only had Notre Dame isn't blowing teams out. Notre Dame is not even averaging more than I think they just averaging over 21 points a game outside of in conference play. Well, actually, Notre Dame looks like the more high power, the second high power offense they played against. Now that I'm going back and look at their schedule, but even them, they playing Louisville, Central Michigan, North Carolina State,
Barely surviving
Tennessee
against Duke.
State.
It's a joke. It's a joke,
Oh
man.
I mean, it's sad, man. And like you naturally and traditionally want to give these teams the benefit of the doubt. But when you go back and turn the film on, man, Ohio State does not scare anybody right now. Ohio State would probably lose to Ole Miss, Tennessee, LSU. I think Arkansas will take them 4 quarters. I think they probably only getting away from Vandy as far as blowing them out. They catch Mississippi State on a good day, a good early 2 drives. Mississippi State might pull away from them. Texas A&M might out physical them. So it's just crazy to see that where this committee's head is. But forget the committee, man. Our path into the playoffs is win out. Simple as that. That's the only way. That's the only way we're gonna give ourselves a chance. Let it play out, man. It's gonna be if this SEC championship game if it goes down in history, it's because both of those teams are clicking, and the type of Alabama's team we've seen for the past 10 quarters of play is who shows up in Atlanta. And it's not too early to talk about Atlanta. I know we got the Scare and Jordan here coming up next weekend. We got Chattanooga this weekend, but man, this is a real thing to be really thinking about and not necessarily worried about. Let's keep an eye on it as a fan base because, like Coach Shawn said, media seems to move a lot nowadays. I don't care what it is. Media is money driven. Media drives money. It drives the markets. Social media drives the markets. We can get active in social media. This weekend needs to tell a lot. And let's talk about that, Coach Shawn. Let's talk about these weekend matchups that really could affect the landscape of this college football playoff going into basically the last weekend rivalry weekend of college football season. So where we at? Week 12, right? We're in week 12 of the season. Let me pull up the top 25 matchups, and I could screenshot it and put it on there. Coach Jay, give some thoughts, man. Just going forward, looking at our schedule, knowing we got Chattanooga and Auburn. Key areas you think we could improve on to just really seal the deal as far as being that dominant team, that championship caliber team?
As good as our offensive line has played the last 3 weeks, it could definitely get better. Like I said, I would like to see Caden. I still would like to see Caden Proctor get a lot of snaps, especially at left tackle. I just want to see him just gain a lot more, just more and more confidence, get him ready for Auburn. I still want to see, again, Seth McLaughlin. He needs to work on getting the snaps. There were some low snaps in that Kentucky game that, Jalen Milroe had to make Superman type plays in order for him to catch that ball. So I would like to see Seth McLaughlin and Jalen Milroe continue to get work there. I think for the most part, I would like to see, because we're starting to incorporate a much more higher volume of rotation as far as ball carries with Jan Miller and Rhoda Williams incorporated with Jason McKellen. So I'd like to see more of that, more of that inserted into the offense. And then I would say defensively, I would say again our linebacker core. Listen, we all know it's clear and obvious day that Deontay Lawson and Jahad Campbell are the guys. But it's the other guys behind them that I would love to see get more work. I think Trez Marshall definitely needs to get, if there's any game that I would like to see a player get more improvement, it's Trez. Trez has got to, I think Trez has got to get that confidence back, and he's got to get back to playing some really solid ball, because we can't, again, there's one thing if you can't really play in coverage, but to have that performance of not playing against the run and to just look like trade the priest or Henry To'oTo'o out there. We can't have that. We just
I
can't have
don't do.
that if one of our it is what it is, man. If one of our linebackers go down, man, I don't. We got to get some. We got to get some help in there. So it's I hope let's try to get that going. I would like to see more of our linebacking rotation get in there. I think Christian Story. I think I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Christian Story should get a start. If Jalen Key's not healthy, if he's not healthy, if you feel like he's he can maybe go, but he's not 100%. Let's get Christian Story in there. Like again, let's get Christian Story out there. Again, I wouldn't trust me. I wouldn't mind seeing Trey Amos right back out there and then Terrion back at star. But I know that Terrion can play both those at a high level. I want to see what happens with Christian Story, right? Just in case emergency things goes wrong. Christian Story has the reps, and he has the reps to get in there and not skip a beat, because that's what happened with Trey Amos. So let's try to get that working with Christian Story.
Right. I'm gonna just continue off of that point there. Not just with Christian Story, but I would love to see. We saw Earl Little and Antonio Kite come in as the 5th and 6th guys off of the bench as far as the secondary. I would love to see those guys start getting work. We saw Jake Pope late last game. I mean, that second group of secondary guys just looks like they ready to fly around and hit something. So a game like this is definitely important for us to start off early and get the early lead and push the envelope and kind of just make things possible for guys to get reps. And I think that's going to be a focal point, not only for the players, but I think the coaches secretly want to get guys reps, because a game like Auburn, man, you put a guy in that just ran like the way Tommy Rees scheme up the offense, you mess around and get a kid like Jalen Hill or Shaz Preston in on some early game reps where he's touching the ball a few times. That one look can throw a defense off, because they know, oh, this when he got in the game last week, this is what he ran, and it's really just to set up something that we usually run. But personnel wise, it forces a different look. That's what I see happening in this game. When you talk about a lot of people look at scores and numbers and things of this nature, stats. I think these games are used by the good coaching staffs that have been under Coach Saban to get guys out there in not so normal situations that they've been in this season, especially when you talk about your second and third group guys, and seeing how they perform regardless of the opponent, but putting them in a situation where the opponent presents a more opportune chance for success in your development. So I would love for this to be one of those type of games, because it can be at the end of the day. This defense, I'm ready to see Earl Little and Tony Mitchell, and I'm really excited about Jaleel Hurley. I mean, we got so much talent. Yes, like, man, I just want to see guys like I just seen George Johnson say Keon Keeley. To see him out there on special teams and see him actually being hyped to get on this field every week. I see him in warm-ups going 1,000%. Like, the kid is ready. I know people were concerned about Ty Simpson and if he's bought in, if he's going to transfer. Ty Simpson, the kid came in and like, if he's looking to transfer out, I can't tell. I mean, I've only heard the rumors of, Bama Twitter, the message boards, all that. But I don't see this kid heading out knowing that Milroe is trending up. If anything, I see him probably praising Milroe. Please, Milroe, be in New York in a few weeks. Punch your ticket to New York. You may not win it, but if Milroe can get in that conversation a little bit more after the Iron Bowl and definitely solidify it against Georgia in the SEC championship game, Milroe's not coming back next year. That's my hot take. I keep saying it on every show that I have that I'm a part of. Milroe, if Anthony Richardson could go last year, if Joe Barrow could go, a couple years back, I feel like Milroe has that same type of potential and growth. I don't know if that's something that you could jump on and piggyback on with, but that hot take there, man, I believe it has some legitimacy. I'm about 45-50% sure, right? 55% sure Milroe is going to take his chance and go to the league, man.
I think if this was last year's draft class, and if Jalen Milroe has and if Jalen Milroe continues to go on the stride that he's doing right now, yeah, I think he would have probably gone, because he's a freak athlete. Like, Jalen Milroe's he's gonna dominate the combine. Like, your bench press, he's gonna be in the 20s. He's gonna be a 4.4 runner. He's gonna dominate drills.
He's not running no 4.4. Don't do that. That boy is a legit 4.35 at minimum.
I mean, okay, 4.43. All right, sub 4.4. Right, he's going to dominate the combine. People are going to be impressed with his arm strength. I mean, it's he boy, he's going to go off. But I think with this draft and with Caleb Williams and Bo Nix and Michael Penix, like this is a stacked quarterback class. Jaden Daniels, we talk about him. Jaden Daniels is another quarterback that's going to kill in the combine. It's just a lot of quarterbacks that are probably going to go day 1, day 2, maybe even early day 3. I think I talked about this before, man. I said Jalen Milroe has the potential of being that next Lamar Jackson type of player. And again, I think him and AR are different players. I think he's more of that Lamar type role as far as his body type, bigger than Lamar. But again, as far as weight wise, Lamar's body weight now is exactly what Jalen Milroe is right now in college. So you can only imagine if he continues to build that up. He could be literally 235 by the time he's in year 2 and year 3 in the NFL, which is scary. But no, Jalen Milroe, man, he has a lot of potential through his game. And I think he should come back just to get more developed. And especially now that he's starting to really find his rhythm under this Tommy Rees offense, especially because these weapons, you may have a player or two go in the portal, but as far as, do I think Isaiah Bond's going anywhere? Nope. Do I think Kendrick Law or Amari Nightblack is going anywhere? No. I mean, Dupree could be gone, but I can see Danny Lewis stepping up to the play. I'm high on Danny Lewis. I think Danny Lewis can step up and be that guy. I think Robbie Oots could step up one more year and be there for Alabama. So the weapons will be there. The offensive line, I mean, you'll lose most likely J.C. Latham, and you'll probably lose Seth McLaughlin as well. Or Seth McLaughlin could come back. I think he has a year of eligibility left, so he could come back for Alabama. This is a young Bama team that took a while for them to find his groove. And I think for Jalen Milroe to kind of depart that when he still has a lot left to improve on, and he can do that with Alabama now that he's starting to find it. It just doesn't make sense to me that he would just jump off the ship. And and people would like to, again, I want to see Ty Simpson start one day, but I think very similar to Carson Beck at Georgia. Carson Beck, extremely talented kid, had to wait his turn. There were times where people were screaming to guard Carson Beck to get in, but Stetson Bennett came back, got better under Todd Monken, because guess what? At the end of the year, Stetson Bennett under Todd Monken found his groove. He found it. He finally figured out how to put everything together and how to click, and how his weapons and him, how they can finally get in sync. He came back the year 2, and what happened? Stetson Bennett became an All-American quarterback. That's what I think Jalen Milroe can do. And look what Carson Beck is doing now that he's got an opportunity. So that's why I think I see a path like for that for Ty Simpson.
I agree with the Ty Simpson. A lot of people are thinking I'm crazy about Milroe coming back next year. I'm just telling you, man, the way and the trend of professional sports, the transition into, nobody's waiting for you to solidify yourself on the college level no more. Because if that was the case, Anthony Richardson would have went first round. Patrick Mahomes would have went first round. Guys like Kyler Murray, these guys came into their development when they peaked. That's when GMs were coming. And the draft talk for Milroe is picking up. From week 2 up until now, a lot of people had Jalen Milroe day 3 coming into the season with all his underdevelopment. They had him day 3. He's a junior. You start getting those grades as a junior. You start getting those serious draft grades as a junior. But you look at what the type of progression that Milroe made in the amount of time that he's made it. You don't get that with a lot of quarterbacks. And there's an offensive coordinator in the league right now, 2 or 3 of them, that are QB, gurus. They set QBs up. And somebody said it in the chat earlier, somebody sees a Jalen Hurts 2.0 with Milroe. The upside with Jalen Milroe is he doesn't have the developed weapons around him like a lot of these previous Alabama quarterbacks have. His weapons had developed as he's developed. Offensive line has developed as he's developed. So in my eyes as a GM, I look at that and I say, hey, is this a guy that can be our next cornerstone, our next building block to reshaping a franchise? It's a few teams that are looking for reshaping franchise opportunities, and Jalen Milroe would not be a bad gamble. Just like Lamar Jackson resurrected that Baltimore Ravens franchise, he wasn't fully developed. Lamar Jackson legs was his carry until he filled that arm talent role in his rookie year, second year. I wouldn't even say his rookie year.
His rookie year was not. I mean, like I said, he was a great scrambler, but he wasn't there. It was year 2. Year 2 was when he took off.
But you got teams that really can provide that type of growth pattern for Milroe. And I agree with everybody. You know, it would be the ideal thing traditionally based off of how college football used to be before NIL and all these things. And, you know, when GMs weren't at your locker room your freshman year talking to you about their plans if you was to continue or you was to come out your junior year, your third year in the program. So it's a different ball game. And like I said, I hate to just use that one example. Stetson Bennett, the difference between Stetson Bennett and Milroe has something that Stetson Bennett won't ever have. And that's just pure athleticism. As sneaky of an athlete as Stetson Bennett was in some of the plays he created, that wasn't his game. And that wasn't something that, you know, made Georgia's offense. His ability just adjust for Todd Monkey to adjust to him. But we saw Jalen Milroe be effective with his legs under probably the worst offensive coordinator under Nick Saban since he's been at Alabama under Bill O'Brien. You know, we saw him be effective, and then we saw him just change once he found a competent coordinator / QB minded personnel that can really sit him down and just walk him through the steps of progression. And to take those small steps of film session, those 3 days of actual practice that you get in between these weeks, and to come out of the bye week. And I mean, look at the touchdown passes and the progression, the way he was making his progressions against Kentucky, man. Yes, it was against Kentucky, but he had the same type of time against Arkansas and missed a lot of things. You remember we talked about these things. His stepping up in the pocket, his pocket awareness, his decisiveness to take off. Milroe is one of those guys where if the right organization is saying the right thing, it doesn't hurt him to go, and he doesn't have to be a year one starter as a first round draft pick. You know, he doesn't have to be the day one starter. He can go early second round this year and be fine with that because he's the next piece. You know, does he miss out on the money? NIL handles that for a lot of these kids. NIL really handles that. You got Anthony Richardson, who he didn't care if he went second round. The kid had already made over $2 million after starting at 1 year at Florida and didn't win big games. He didn't do anything great. What did Anthony Richardson do last season that made him so great?
Had a great game against Utah. About it for me. He has some
That's
solid
it.
games
I mean,
there.
what do he do against elite defenses?
Nothing.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm telling you guys, don't be surprised if there's some late, especially if he wins a national championship this year for the Alabama Crimson Tide. That creates a different type of value for a first-year starting quarterback with the type of growth that he's shown, progression. He's broken into the 2,000 passing yard mark with almost 50 plus less attempts than, you know, most guys that have 2,000 yards in the league right now. I mean, this kid is showing some crazy progression that we haven't seen not only at Alabama but just in college football. To be as raw as he was going into week 2 against Texas, to seeing where he's, you know, where his projection is now, it's one of those things, man. And y'all could get mad. Y'all gonna get enough of taking a lot of these hot takes Coach Smook be taking. I done been around this world a couple times, and I done wore a couple of different uniforms, but I ain't never switched up on this Alabama one. And it's a certain thing you get into when you hear the talks, when you able to hear the text or see the text that's going in between, you know, some of these organizations, man. It's a different feel. I'm gonna just leave it at that. But moving forward, Chattanooga, we didn't really talk about much about this game. We just talk more so about, you know, ways we can see this team improving. While we're winding down, man, let's give our predictions. Let's talk about, you know, where we see guys, key matchups, things happening. I haven't been able to watch a Chattanooga game. Not even gonna sit in front and act like I went to look for a Chattanooga game.
I know they lost to Furman. That's all I know. They lost to. It's not. But listen, we've gone against Chattanooga in the past. They've been better Chattanooga teams we played in the past compared to this one. I'm gonna be just straight up honest.
Yeah, and I mean, the only thing I would say that I want to see from this game, Coach J, is like you was kind of alluding to earlier. Yes, we blew out Middle Tennessee early in the season, but it wasn't a clean blowout. It wasn't flawless. You know, we saw Milroe make a lot of young mistakes that, as a starting quarterback, as we expected. I don't think we see him get sacked. I think he got sacked 3 times against Middle Tennessee State, didn't he?
I know more. I think more times.
It was more
he got sacked 5 times.
And against Middle Tennessee State, it was 3 times in the first quarter.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So I don't see that. You get what I'm saying. If we see a win against Chattanooga, even if it's 63-6, but Milroe gets sacked 3 times in the first quarter or gets sacked at all, that's when I'm gonna have genuine concerns. Like, we haven't really grown. It's been kind of a mirage. But if we could get up for this game and really just execute at a high level and really dominate, and the score is 63-7, looks like 63-7, where you kind of turned the game off in the second quarter. You was checking back in, going checking making sure the baked beans ain't burning, checking the grill, making sure the meat, like when you got time to go and check your food in between plays. That's the type of game we need this weekend. Of course, I'll be watching every play for play, but that's the type of feel we want to feel this weekend, and talk about prepping and getting guys ready for a big game, a big Iron Bowl next week, which we know always is something interesting to watch. Coach Jay, what's another thing you're going to be looking for against this Chattanooga team, man?
No, I'm just looking for more consistency. Yeah, I'm looking for more consistency in the offensive line, and I just want to. I'm just more interested in what our backup players in the secondary look like. Jake Pope, Christian Story. I want to see these guys get into the game. Antonio, can we see potentially an Antonio Kite? I mean, I would like to see a lot of these guys get in, just in case if any emergency situations happen, and we've had these situations before, Georgia, where we didn't get players prepared because of lack of reps. And I think this is a perfect opportunity because even for this season alone, we haven't had a lot of opportunities to play a lot of our backups. I know the Mississippi State game we did, Mississippi State, Kentucky, and then Middle Tennessee. We only had 3 games where we did it. I remember even back in the day, we used to do almost every game. So this is another opportunity to get young guys their reps. I would love to see those guys get in and get more playing time and just get more preparation, and just in case, so they can look at mistakes and look at the film and try to learn and grow from it overall. Because like Christian Story is he's a perfect example. A guy that you implemented before. He played a lot better in this Kentucky game compared to what we saw against Tennessee, compared to what we saw when he got it against LSU and they took him out and they made that change. He got better. He learned from his mistakes, and that's what we need to see from a lot of our younger guys that are going to be put into the game.
And man, it's just I keep alluding to that simple fact, man. I made the statement earlier, and I think you guys agree with me earlier in the season. I said this offense will grow as Jalen Milroe and Tommy Rees continue to grow together. And that's literally what's happened. I mean, everything around that connection is what's I see being shown throughout this whole unit of this team. The offensive identity has taken on the identity of what Tommy Rees's identity was described to be in the preseason. A lot of nuances to the game, but still an old school, gritty, physical mindset. Even Tommy Rees said if he was to play a different position, it would have been offensive line because of how physical he likes to get. His mindset, he has a physical mindset, and he knows the offensive line usually have to be the nastiest guys on the field next to your defensive lineman. So it's one of those things where we see that mentality starting to be so prevalent, and it's oozing out of the players and the product that they're putting on the field. Final takeaway for me, man, going into this Chattanooga game. Like I said, I hope there's an extensive script. I don't want to see a vanilla script, even though this is late in the season. I think you still need to continue to dive into that playbook, continue to dive deeper into making Milroe comfortable with more sets, seeing things faster. If we can get into like an up-tempo offense early with the offense and just, create pressure on the defense early and just stick with that throughout the game, I would love to see that, guys. And it can be that. It can be that the way this team is trending. I don't think the guys are down for this game. I think the disrespect will continue to be displayed in the college football rankings tomorrow. And even if not, I think knowing that we are not going to be in the top 5, possibly, is going to make these guys want to continue to play. And at some point, we pray that the committee will wake up and open their eyes and see what's happening. Let's get into these comments, man. I see a little debate going on in the comments between our resident closet Alabama fan, aka Georgia fan, and a couple of people. If I could give my personal take on this Georgia team, I think yeah, I don't count on that at all. But I
Yeah, we
think
actually
Georgia's.
we need Georgia to
We
win
need
because
y'all to win. We want you to
we
win.
need every game.
But I saw this comment about them He said GA defense gives up an average of 181 passing yards per game. Bama giving up 201 per game. Our DBs are legit. No, your DBs have yet their first top 20 rated offensive, passing offense was against Missouri, and we saw what that offense did to you. And they don't have near the amount of weapons. They literally have one guy in their receiving core that can really take the top off of any defense in the SEC. And they hung with y'all for 4 quarters. Bad decision making by Brody Cook or whatever his name is, who I believe is going to be a good pro, good backup pro on the next level. Guy displays a lot of talent. But yeah, you guys haven't really played a solid offense. Ole Miss showed you what could happen, and we all know Ole Miss was going to be lacking a defense. So the fact that they played y'all tight gives me more confidence. Y'all gave up 20 points to trash Auburn, then trash Auburn defense. South Carolina held y'all to 24 points. It's like Florida put up 20, who had no passing game coming into that game. Like, you guys are vulnerable, just like any team. Georgia's vulnerable, just like we are. It's about, can you create opportunities to expose it? And I really do think that our offense can, with Jalen Milroe's legs, can create opportunities to expose you guys' weaknesses. You guys have yet to be forced. Anytime you're forced to cover extended plays, meaning 4 seconds or more, you guys are very susceptible, especially at the corner. Malachi Starks is probably your most consistent DB. And I forget the other kid's name. He's pretty solid too. What's his name?
Javon Bullitt, another safety that plays right next to Starks, or is it Kamari
Bullitt
in the corner?
Bullitt. Lassiter is he's Georgia's version of our Kool-Aid when it comes to defense and coverage. You don't know what you're going to get with that guy. As much talent as he has, and I believe he's probably your number 5, number 6 corner in the nation right now when you're talking about rating guys, and that's only because he's not consistent. He's not consistent, just like Kool-Aid. I don't think Kool-Aid is the top corner in the nation right now anymore. I think that
better.
The better corner is across the field, on the other side of the field from easily.
I'm sorry. It's a travesty. It's a travesty that he was left off of the Jim Thorpe finalist list. It's a travesty. How in the hell? You can't name me another corner that plays inside and that plays on the inside and that plays at the boundary at an elite level. You can't name another corner that plays like that, and you leave him off the list. I'm sorry, I had to get that.
No, you right, man. And I think if any secondary was able to match up against that talented Georgia wide receiver core, because I'm not denying any talent that Georgia is presenting on either side of the ball. I'm just saying, as far as matchups, you guys have yet to have a test or any type of test like Alabama's had when it comes to playing complete defenses. You've been fortunate enough to play solid offensive teams in Ole Miss and Missouri, but their defenses are atrocious. We was able to play a probably still a top-rated Texas offense, and they're still a top-rated defense. Texas is not going out here giving up 40 points a game, 60 points a game. They're not winning games like that. They've had a few close games. They won by 7, but their defense has been consistent. And their offense's main struggle has been having a backup quarterback, and that was shown even this past weekend against TCU, not having Quinn Ewers all the way healthy and not being confident in what they could call for him because he wasn't 100%. But they knew it was a must-win game to keep them in the college football playoffs. You saw that. You saw them get comfortable and let TCU back in the game. So it's one of those things where I just don't think Georgia has been battle-tested. And most of the time when teams aren't battle-tested early in the season, when they come to those big games, it's second nature to the team that's had to go through that 3 or 4 times in the season rather than a team that says they're built for it and hasn't had to showcase it into a big game. That pressure is different. And I believe that's what really gave Alabama the edge in 18, honestly. When we had to put Hurts back in the game, we had been battle-tested that whole year with Tua getting hurt early and,
we did
things
in 21.
being mixed match. I mean, yeah, especially with Bryce and losing one of your top guys. Literally, the second phase or second piece of your 3-man offense was gone. And this team just continues to show. This team is different though because we actually have a defense. So that's where I weigh in on the future. Facing Georgia. I'm not saying that we're going to blow them out by any means or by any count, but I do believe if there was a team to really take Georgia to the edge and really just dominate them, because they have not seen a matchup like that, it would be my Crimson Tide.
Oh, I completely agree. I completely agree. I'm telling you, man, the SEC championship, it's a different environment. This is why I keep saying, man, there's styles make matchups, man. Styles can win you matchups. And there are just certain teams that are just bad for other units. Alabama and Georgia are those two teams. No matter how good, I mean, there have been years where we looked dominant and Georgia was 9 wins, 10 wins, and they gave us, that was our toughest test out of anybody in the season.
28-32 when we the SEC championship 2008. I want to believe 2008, 2009.
12. Yep, 12.
Or was that
was
yeah,
that
12.
was down to Mosley when Mosley tipped that pass.
Yeah, I'm thinking about Florida, Alabama. But yeah, man, Elijah Pitway has a good comment. He said, in order to beat Georgia, you have to stop their running game and bracket Bowers. You cannot let Bowers beat you. The way I think you beat Georgia is you pick your poison. You either let Bowers be their key and let him, live with what he gets and totally focus on shutting down that 3-headed running attack and the play action game, or you go and you focus on keeping Bowers. Honestly, I think their offense is not just Bowers. It drives off of the success of that run game. The run game is very successful. It may not be astonishing, it may not be electric, but it is effective, and that's how they build into their pass game. McConkey is a route technician. I've been saying it since he's been on the field. We make the jokes about the white man can't jump and all that. Well, that white boy can run some routes, and he is a route technician. And I love watching him in his route game. Rawa Thomas is a strong, can attack the ball in the air, a strong guy on playing the ball. I think they're going to present the best matchups we're probably going to see across the board. And I think that's a game where Kevin Steele is really going to lean on those inside linebackers to play football. You get what I'm saying? Not all that thinking. It's going to be a game where you're playing football. Go play football. Go play football. That's one thing that has me confident. Now, Georgia fans, to your defense, if we had Pete Golden here, I'm not as confident. I'm looking me as a fan, not as an analyst, but me as a fan, I'm looking for more reasons to trust in this offense. If Pete Golden is our defensive coordinator this year. And we see the type of talent Alabama's defense has on the field when they have a competent coordinator sending us, calling the shots. So, oh yeah, I forgot, man. Also, shout out to T-Rob, man, and his secondary. Caleb Downs, it's a play I want to highlight. The fumble recovered by Caleb Downs, it was a strip forced by Terrion Arnold, and then it was a recovery by Caleb Downs. If you go back and watch that play from start to finish and how it played out, the reason why I'm giving Terrion Arnold the best corner nod, and this is my last little rant before we do our closing statements, and the reason why I give Terrion Arnold the nod is it wasn't because he made the play, made the strip fumble. It was the effort that was put into every play leading up to that. It was not a play where Terrion Arnold was, even when he was out of position, it wasn't because of his effort. You get what I'm saying? Same thing with Christian Story for this last game. I can't say it for any other game, but this last game, I watched 4 DBs on the field: Malachi Moore, Christian Story, Terrion Arnold, and Trey Amos go out there and just give, top tier effort every play, every snap that they were out there. And I saw Kool-Aid, who's supposed to be the leader, who's supposed to be the best graded corner going into the draft next year. On that strip fumble, Kool-Aid was already giving up on the play because Terrion Arnold had wrapped up the receiver. He was already, getting ready to stop and celebrate. Caleb Downs is coming from the middle of the field, sprinting full speed. Not only is Caleb Downs coming, but you got Justin Boyd be coming in from chasing down the play from the defensive line area, the trench area. You got linebackers coming in to chase down the play. Kool-Aid is there when the play happens, 3 yards away from the ball. How is he not picking up that ball and scoring? But not only did you not get the ball and scoop and score because you're not playing through the whistle, you didn't even, when Caleb picked the ball up, you didn't turn around and just lean on the guy that was chasing him to give him an easy score. Where's your team mindset? You have celebrate when somebody else makes a play, but you make the most simplest of plays and you're celebrating as if you just made the stop of the game. Like, that attitude and that energy needs to be cleaned up. If I was to pick about anything in this secondary, if I was to check T-Rob about anything, check your star. there's an ego check that needs to happen. And I understand continuing to build confidence. I feel like this is a game where you make Kool-Aid re-earn his position.
That's always happened with Kool-Aid, though. That's just I don't know. Like I'm not gonna sit up here and say that he's he's a bad person or like that. But as far as personnel in the football field, it's kind of a prima donna. I mean, like I said, we've seen great players and great corners like this, but that's just kind of one of those prima donna type players where he's a player that, for the most part, great player, can make great plays on the ball, but will not give you the 100% consistent effort on every play. Like Caleb Downs, I see. I mean, there's a reason why Caleb Downs is leading the team in tackles and why he's the third highest graded safety in college football.
Right now, as a true freshman.
As a true freshman, he gives you 100% effort. Terran Arnold, why do we think Terran Arnold is better? He gives you 100% effort, even when he's beat. He'll be damned if he's going to let anybody catch a ball on him. If he has to hold and pull him down and tug him, he's going to do it. He's willing to sacrifice his role because he's a better boundary corner than I think he is when you slide him inside. But guess what? He's willing to do whatever it takes for the team. He doesn't care. Kool-Aid, I'm gonna be honest. I think Kool-Aid should be sliding in there and getting those inside reps, but they won't give it to him. They're not gonna give it to him.
They can't trust him.
They can't trust
him. You know what's crazy? I feel like, and old school Saban, probably would have had Kool-Aid. Probably had him as the fourth corner. After that Ole Miss game, I want to say, after he made that pick, and then he comes out against Arkansas and plays that horrible game, man. Like, even though he didn't get tested, the 2 times he get tested, you getting beat on these slow comeback routes, Kool-Aid. You're the long corner. You're playing the soft coverage. You're getting fussed at every play. I don't get it. But I want to say Saban 2009 to 2011 probably would have had Earl Little out there getting a lot of reps early on in the season, or even Des Ricks I'm hearing Des Ricks is trending up as a guy. Des Ricks' only issue this coming into the season was putting some weight on. We got to get some weight on Des Ricks. I don't think you get out there and be an effective corner at this level of college football at 167 pounds. I think they gave him 175 on the roster, but Des small, man. Des is small. Another guy that I think is going to be able to shine this week, and you test on it slowly, not slowly, pause, but you test on it lightly. And it was our guy Jeremiah Alexander, man. I want to Clint Lamb just made a tweet about this. I'm just seeing it about how natural he looks playing inside linebacker instead of being outside where he was originally recruited at. If this guy is getting in there at 6'2", 249, 250, whatever his weight is, if he's getting in there and he's only a redshirt freshman and he's showing that type of fluidity, let's let him run it. Let's let him get some reps this game. Because we're going to need that type of fluid reaction and eye discipline. We're going to need that against Georgia. Guys that are ready to.
I'm telling you, man, that one play against Kentucky where he absolutely just decleats an offensive lineman, sheds off the blocker, and makes a play in the backfield for a TFL. I'm telling you, man, at that size, at 6'2", 250 pounds, I can't wait I can't wait. I hope he gets the reps because I'm telling you, next year, man, he's going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem.
And I'm looking off to the side watching the play again, man. The way he and that's Murphy right next to him. The way he and Murphy just kind of squeezed the gaps and was able to bounce to react. They didn't lean towards the sideline. They just squeezed the gaps. As the offensive line compressed to them, they just squeezed those gaps and then they attacked the opening. They didn't wait for an opening. They forced the opening. I'm looking at the play, man. And I mean, even the defensive front in front of them. I'm looking at guys like 94. Who's 94? Latham? That's not Latham, is it?
No, Latham's 93. So
who's 94? Whoever the 94 is, my God, man. And they're still going against Kentucky starters at this point. Yes, the game is in hand, but they're still going against Kentucky starter front line. And these guys are just causing havoc. And yes, it's one play, but guys, you can't argue with the amount of depth. And that's another thing. We're not having to go into depth because of lack of performance in front. I think that's one thing Georgia has benefited from the past 4 years. They have depth that just isn't being seen. So they're able to hide a lot of names. Jeremiah Alexander is one of those names that's been able to be hidden this year. Quandarius Robinson, flashes, but has been able to be hidden. Uh, Kendrick Blackshire, Jamarian Latham, Damon Payne. Like all these names are guys that we're seeing on film because we know them, but they're hidden to national media and they're doing just as much, work as the guys in front of them. And yeah, Jake Pope looked good out there too. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
like I'm just looking at it's 3 plays replaying back to back, and I'm like, man, these guys look like they actually understand the defense, man. They understand the defense, and that's the difference. And then last point, I keep saying last point, but this is one of them shows, man. You just kind of got to take it all in and wonder why the college football committee is not seeing this if they're actually watching games. If you watch week 2 from when the wide receivers were running their routes this season up until now, and we know week 2 wide receivers weren't the issue. They were getting open. Milroe just wasn't seeing them. You see timing with a lot of these routes now. Guys aren't giving you the same releases. They're not being too eager in their routes when the play is designed to open up a certain phase of the game or a certain phase of the field. Like guys are really running this offense. The wide receivers and tight ends are running routes with an understanding of what the concept is. You get what I'm saying?
Mm.
That's what's different about this team this year, and I'm excited, man. Anything else, man? Anything else?
No, that's about it.
Look, Lila Gary Allen said no injuries. That's the biggest thing. We have injuries, but they're not catastrophic. They're not catastrophic. Like I said, Key being out is probably a good thing for us with stories showing his improvement. Because you remember what I said the first time he had to come in, and I think that was Arkansas game. Was that Arkansas game?
Or Tennessee?
And he just looked so far behind. He just looked uncomfortable. But then LSU game he had to play, and he comes in and he plays a solid second half. He comes in this game against Kentucky and just plays us like he plays like a third or fourth year safety. You would want a fourth year safety to. I didn't see a Daniel Wright signing. I didn't see a DeMarco Hellum signing from him. Like that's what I was very confident about, that this kid was really and he made some solid. I think had 3 total tackles, and he made 1 solid tackle to keep them from gaining the first down. Also, they took away our boys' forced fumble too. That was definitely
Christian Story made that play.
Recovery. Yeah, so it's going to be one of those things. I'm curious to see how he continues to grow and how this this team is affected by him having to fill in, because I think the only team left that has the capability to possibly challenge him is Georgia. To scheme up and actually challenge him in that position is Georgia. And if that's the weakness, you're going to have to try to open up and carry. I like the way our defensive front is getting pressure on the quarterback and the blitzes that Steele is dialing up to just continue to just make this team better. B. Jammin says Burton will be on fire in ATL. Not only Burton, but hot take. I think if Trez Marshall has to step up and get reps, which I believe will happen. I think, like you said, Coach J, Trez Marshall will use this game to create some good film, some great film, because he has talent. It's just like I'm not understanding why he's not getting it in the simple stuff. But if he uses his game to create some great film, I feel like that trends to him having a big game against a staggering Auburn offense, and also trying to prove himself against Georgia. We've seen games all this year where the players, when it was that time to kind of prove themselves to that state or whatever, if somehow or another they found a way to wake up, So I'm excited about that. Coach Jay, closing thoughts, and then tell the people how they can find you, man.
Yeah, man. I'm just hoping that we get the win. Well, I know we're gonna get the win, but I just hope that we just put on a great showing, not just from our starters, but from our backup players, get them some valuable reps, and just take that, and again, take the valuable lessons that they can learn from, get the film in, and try to grow from it. That's literally what I'm just hoping for the most part. As far as, again, where you guys can find me, Jant716, YouTube, Jant Sports, and of course, Monday night college football quarterback. With the coaches. Coach Shawn couldn't be here tonight, but I'm very sure he'll probably be here either Wednesday, and if not Wednesday, then definitely should be here during the post game show after the Saturday game. And I gotta probably get ESPN Plus or SC Network Plus, because it's not gonna be live anymore, unless you're localized. For me, I might have to just get it. But it is what it is. It is what it is. I gotta stay in tune with my Bama football. But yeah, that's where you guys can find me.
For sure, man. And as you all know, you can definitely find me, Coach Smook, at Coach Smook on every platform. I will be having a live session tomorrow on Bleacher Report at 8 p.m. reacting to the college football playoff rankings. Like I said, man, it's going to be one of those things where you won't get much reaction from me. If you watch it tonight, I probably echo the same sentiments tonight if things don't really change. But if we do see a change, if there's some way that baby Jesus comes down and slaps every committee member upside their hairpiece and, give them some refreshing waters of his um, fresh brain vibrations from the Mother Earth to revitalize their brain cells and get them thinking straight, and we move up to like number 6 in this playoff rankings, I would be happy. You get what I'm saying? I would definitely be happy. So let's hope and pray for the best. Again, your boy Coach Smook on all platforms. Don't forget, like Coach Jay said, we got the shows this week. Also this Friday, there won't be a live game preview, but we do got some clips I'll be posting here on this channel. And we got some things that we want you all to stay interactive with. Shouts out to Kyle Henderson with the opportunity and the platform, giving us this opportunity. I know my bros appreciate it. I really appreciate you all. We appreciate you all the super chats. Once again, y'all know how we do closing out the show. Let's run them down. Coach Jay, I'll take the first 3. You could take the next 3, and then we could do it however. Fred Turner with the $2 super chat. Duke to Go 2020 with a $2 super chat. And Refried Confusion with the $4.99 super chat.
Oh, I'm trying to catch up to the super chats. I'm trying to
go to the in the back office area where you say comments, click on start, and you'll see all the super chats.
Where at?
Under start, under the start tab, you see your live comments, and you see a start tab.
The start tab. Oh, I see it. Hold on. Give me a second.
We doing live training on the show, y'all.
Guys, I keep trying to tell people this. I'm the oldest 25-year-old you'll ever meet. I'm like Benjamin Button.
Y'all gotta see Jay on y'all gotta get in the chat with us this Saturday. Discord chat. Oh yeah, let's talk about that. The Discord chat, guys. It was fun this weekend. We had a lot of you all come through. We got people joining up in the middle of the week trying to see what all the hype was about. Coming in as you see myself reacting, telling you all hi. That is me. I'm just hitting the natural the Discord automatic react. Welcome to the group button. But Coach Jay will be getting some admin permissions, and I'm gonna get him active in handling that because he has a good way of, creating the moods in that group chat. I'm telling y'all, he has a good way of, and that's why I'm building the team like we building the team, because it ain't all about one person. This is a team when we talking about Bama football. But yeah, y'all definitely come through and check that out because it's a good time, y'all. And I think we're gonna start getting into more as the college football playoffs open up. I start getting into there and tagging everybody and seeing how they feel about, certain things, getting your takes on certain topics. And I think it's going to be a good thing. I think it's going to be a good thing for this network as we continue to grow. Alabama Nation, it's going to be a fun season. Win, lose, or draw. Let's continue to support this team and the growth that we're having. What's the Discord again? I'm actually going to post it right now. I'm going to post it right there. You can actually click that link and it'll take you there. You won't see much activity during the week. Like I said, that's Coach Smook Network, the locker room. You go in there, you'll see just a lot of people that I network with as far as the content creation world, but mostly we're filling up with college football fans. We have we got Notre Dame fan, we got Michigan fan in there, we got a couple LSU fans, yeah, Georgia fans in there. It's a good time, y'all. It's a good time because it's not people in there disrespecting each other. We talking good football, talking good trash, taking little shots here and there at everybody's team. Everybody gets it. I even give it to our own fans. Y'all know how I am about Fairweather fans, Alabama fans. I think I'm harder on our fan base than I am any other fan base. But yeah, definitely join up and let's keep it going. I would love to see James in here. James, as one of the few Georgia fans that came in here and made some good points. I really appreciate you, man. I know I gave you a little hard time, but I do that to everybody. You should have been in here Tennessee week. I was very disrespectful to Tennessee fans in the most respectful way possible. And I had to apologize at the end of the show. I won't be apologizing to you because you kept it classy, you kept it clean. It was a good time, man. And yeah. James, you a Bama fan? No, you're not a Bama fan. You got a Georgia emblem. These Georgia trolls, boy, Kirby is a Bama boy, born in Montgomery and Dooley, born in hometown of Mobile, another Bama boy. Hey, them Bama boys, them committed to the G now, Damon. We got to make them regret it. But honestly, I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion. If there was somebody to unseat Coach Saban, I wouldn't want it to be anybody else but Kirby. That's just me that's like a proud
I
father
love
moment.
Kirby. I
You know what I'm
don't care what
saying?
people say. I love that dude.
If he had never left for Georgia, y'all know doggone well Saban probably would have retired 2 years ago. After that first season with Bryce.
I think right after Kobe, he was like, "Okay, Kirby, you can handle it if you want."
Yeah, probably. Realistically, that probably would have been if Kirby was still there. But to see him go and really literally just take the blueprint from Coach Saban and just continue to evolve it. You see Georgia and Alabama developing at the same level when you're talking about, and that's just a testament to who Coach Saban is and what happens when you can really adapt and take things from him and make them your strengths, you know. So shouts out to Kirby Smart and that Georgia team. I can't wait for that SEC championship game, man. I'm trying my hardest to be in Atlanta. I'm all the way up in Virginia, but I'm trying my hardest. Me and my wife, it's her birthday weekend. Anytime your wife, who's really not a football head or a college football fan, tells you that she doesn't mind going to the Alabama Georgia tailgate because of her first experience, that's more motivation. I might pick up another job, so y'all might not see me on the next week's show because I'm gonna be at UPS overnight stocking or something. You know, trying to make an extra $350 a week so I can get to Atlanta and you know have that good time. But that's gonna be it for our show tonight. It's been fun. Anitra said it's her birthday weekend too. All right, Anitra, I see your little picture. Let me look. All right, mama, look at Anitra right there. Coach J, look at Anitra. Let me stop. I'm acting up. Y'all know I be acting up. Donna, you know I be acting up. Don't get me in trouble, Donna. Don't get me in trouble. Y'all know I be acting up sometimes. I love y'all, man. Appreciate y'all for coming through. And again, roll tide to everybody in the chat, man. We appreciate y'all. Much love. And with that being said, we're out of here, man.